Hello and welcome to the State of the Nation. I'm Brian Dollar with High Voltage Kids Ministry, and I wanted to share a little story with you. A mother and her teenage daughter were doing something that they did quite regularly. They were baking meatloaf in their kitchen. And as was always their ritual, right before they put it in the oven, they cut off the ends of the meatloaf and then place those pieces to the side and put the meatloaf in the oven. Well, the teenage daughter just suddenly got curious and said, "Mom, why do we always cut the ends of the meatloaf off before we place it in the pan and put it in the oven?" And the mom said, "Well, I'm not real sure. I learned that from my mom, so maybe we should ask her." Well, they went and asked the grandmother, and the grandmother thought about it for a second and started laughing and said, "Well, I'm not really sure. I learned that technique from my mother, your great-grandmother." So the teenager goes to her great-grandmother and says, "Grammy, why do we always cut the ends of the meatloaf off before placing it in the pan and putting it in the oven?" And the 92-year-old great-grandmother just looked at her puzzled and said, "Well, I have no idea why all of you do it. I used to do it because my pan was too small." So obviously, they had just seen the others do it and just followed suit. And we laugh at that and we think, how ridiculous. But really, if you were to stop and look at some of the things that you do in children's ministry, how many of those are things that you do just because you've seen others do it for a lot of years and you're not really sure what the reason behind doing it that way really is? Sometimes we do find ourselves just being on autopilot, and we continue to do things for years long after they really have served their effectiveness and their purpose. And what we have to do is to take a moment, stop, evaluate, and look at what we're doing and really question whether this is still as effective as it was back when it was first beginning, because the reason for doing it then may not even exist now. And so I challenge you this week, think about what in your children's ministry is kids ministry meatloaf. How many things are you doing just because that's the way you've always done them? Ask God if there's a new way and if there's a new approach that you can take to suddenly help that become more effective and to reach more kids. I pray that you have an incredible week of ministry, an awesome weekend serving His kids. God bless you.